Doing okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, my mood has been like, I've seen so much shit, dealt with so much shit. It's hard for me to. It's kind of hard to like. Um. Sorry. Hey. I gotta stop that meeting. Let's talk Thursday.
You say Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I will see you Thursday.
All right. You take care. Say
Adios.
hi to Brandon for me.
Okay, I will.
All right.
Take care.
You take care. Bye. It's been a very busy day. A lot has happened, and there is so much to unpack. So I told Peters earlier this morning that because he was. I was having like a mild crash out. Luckily, Trig was there as well. And I think him and I separately told him similar, which is like, listen, you got to remain strong for everybody. Because if they see you freaking out, especially over what is perceived by many to be the marshals sort of taking over control and having all authority fall under them, people are afraid, right? And don't know what to think. I said, look, if you're crashing out, then that's only going to be worse. And that includes and extends to if he sort of lashes out too harshly on like the marshals or whoever it is, because, that's not going to help anybody. That was first thing. We spoke separately and then together about like what do all these changes mean? After many exploration sessions, I had one of my lawyers review my thought process, including what you pointed out to me yesterday. And when you sort of combine everything together, I think you're right. Number one, that entire legislation pertaining to the Angel Act is actually unconstitutional, as its justification is a bastardization of the Constitution. The second thing that stands out, and this is where I conferred with my lawyer, is that the reading of the Constitution gives this agency that Angel runs the extent that their power should be is that they give you like they oversee, they give you guidance, they give you feedback. It ends there. That I do have as the mayor of Los Santos County, I have the authority over all public services. And that your authority is very much looking over public services and making sure public safety and all that is, like that's in your space. These motherfuckers cannot come through and tell you how to do things, fire, whatever. They're encroaching. It's hooked on phonics, like failed hooked on phonics kids trying to fucking make up their own interpretation of very straightforward English. So, where this all kind of goes hand in hand is we're sort of preparing the contest for all that. Michael last night wrote up about 13 pages. He's cooking rather heavy on that. And these are either going to be one big contest or separate ones. But we're going to make sure that like all our I's are dotted, T's are crossed, all that kind of shit, right? So that when it's presented, it's rather clear, and it's likely going to consist of a document because we fully expect the outcome to be like very poo-poo pee-pee. And I say this because when I witnessed what happened when the contest thing happened with with BCSO or whatever, and then he came in, they didn't even follow their own legislation. When something is contested, the justice has to rule whether it was unconstitutional or unconstitutional. And she didn't rule on any of that.
They still haven't made a decision regarding expungements either.
Yeah. It's I'm not surprised. Quite frankly. I don't think they know how to do their job. Rather matter of factly. I think because they've put so much on their plate like a fucking fat kid at a buffet, and now they're confused why they can't eat it all.
So you know what's interesting about the legislative audit procedure? Making amendments to the legislation is actually not in the audit procedure. It's just whether or not it's constitutional.
Exactly.
So like my audit of the expungement process, that's technically not legislated. Like I should not be able to request amendments to legislation per this. All I can do is audit whether or not I believe something is constitutional. So the fact that because they amended the LEO legislation, remember, based on like they changed it so my request of that like jurisdictional authority is where the call begins, right? The incident begins. They did that. But that's actually wrong. They shouldn't have done that based on this.
I would say that I think it would be within their reason to rule whether something is constitutional or unconstitutional and then consider alterations that would then make it constitutional. You know what I mean? But for them not to rule one way or another and then just go from there is odd. And given, I mean, the outcome was fine, right? Ultimately, but
like the fact that they even entertained this at all, because it was never presented as whether or not something was constitutional. It was just that they didn't like it.
Yeah. And for that very reason, I know that if things are not written, then they're open to bastardization.
So what does that mean, though? Like, what? So if they don't follow their own legislation and they don't rule on whether or not something is constitutional or not constitutional,
they make it up as they go. Their opinion is the law, and if it doesn't fit, they change it.
But there's no sort of, there's no consequence for them.
Oh, there will be. I don't want to go too deep into it because I don't want to like conflict you, because this is like, you know, it's related to Pred's raid. But I'll say this much. That was Marshall led and coordinated. And it's bad what's been uncovered. Like, it's bad.
I mean, honestly, though, if you took that Marshall legislation, like you contested it and you cited the discrepancy with their like constitutional justification, and then in addition to that you cited the fact that it just simply says oversight without any sort of authority, and they somehow still found it constitutional. Like, I honestly, it, you know, is that saying put a fork in it, it's done.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, I kind of look at, you know, this demand that Angel gave me, right? Stop interfering with LSPD High Command, right? And a conversation she took, a telephone conversation, right? Not even a primary source, and trying to effectively curtail an impeachment or demand something of me, which I would actually argue is in and of itself a threat, right? With her powers. She's trying to see if she can make me do shit. And if I don't, try to find a way to, like, impeach off of that. If this is the manner by which they function, right? Off hearsay, right? I don't even know lawyers that work like that. You know what I mean? They hear some shit and don't even validate it.
I have a question.
If it's not
Well-
written down, sorry, just to finish the thought, Daisy. If we don't come in with our shit in order and published, and it is strictly based on the words that come out of our mouth, right? I fully expect the words to be twisted and to say, well, this argument makes no sense. I say A, B, C. They say you say X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, sorry. Sorry, you were going to say?
So this thing that they posted to the docket regarding Pred and his suspension of being mayor. What gives the DOJ the authority to suspend a mayor?
Well, it goes even deeper. If you open up judicial powers and a separate legislation called the impeachment one, you'll notice that the writ that is cited in those two pieces of legislation. The first one is pertaining to impeachments. In it notes that it is a consequence, a possible consequence of an impeachment or a conduct review. None of which happened, right? So that's that's off the table. So the only other option would be the one that is the judicial powers, in which it notes the writ of, like, Mirandus or something. I don't remember, some Latin word. That one simply notes that a judge
Commands a public official or government entity to perform a specific act that is legally required.
Yep. And now let's chop it up even more, right? Is this writ request was made by an officer who stated they're a civilian and they're representing the Los Santos Police Department and the marshals. They then post some dog shit. And I'll explain why I call it dog shit. And a justice goes, oh, concerning, all right, suspended for 3 days. And then his response to Pred's like, how is this legal? Like, can you cite the legality of it? Was just like, I'll see you in 3 days at court. Which screams all kinds of craziness to me. Because number one, even before going into the contents of what was in there. So now what they are putting up for precedent is they're creating the precedent that anybody can literally go and say, hey, judges, give me this writ.
This is written 9 days ago.
Which was?
The judicial powers.
Oh, yep. That one is, I find, less concerning. I think the judicial powers is a side effect of our open letter. The open letter did a lot, even though fucking Angel's been crying about it. The reality is that everything that we pointed out that they have actually resolved, including the articles put up. So, you know, say what she wants. She literally did what we told her needs to happen.
If she didn't, you could impeach her.
Yep, exactly that. Right? which is why I find it a little odd. She calls it gossip and rumors. Yet, if it was gossip and rumors, then why did she address every point that we put up? You know what I mean? So, I think she knows this, right? I genuinely believe that she knows that if Pred and I were in place, we'd actually move things forward and hold some accountability. I am gonna go further and let you know that look, I don't want to go too much into it because look, this is Pred stuff, right? And at the end of the day, you are law enforcement, right? And I don't want to create a conflict here where you might know some things and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but the thing for me, which I will say is very publicly available on that, and I'm sure you know about this as well. They never raided his apartment. And the reason for the raid was criminal negligence of a firearm and not stockpiling. There was no verification of when those weapons were purchased.
What does that have to do with it? The time in which they were purchased?
Because he only just got his weapons license back. These are from months ago. And they would know this if they brought him in. And if I were to like chop up every line by line how fucked it is, it gets worse. Because for them to have gone down this route, they skipped a lot of steps. They genuinely sped run this. And a judge signed it. And the marshals executed it while orchestrating it. And the only thing that comes to mind is a statement that, you know, I made to someone earlier today is, you know, I don't think people realize. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to say it. Yeah, I don't. It's concerning. But I do think Pred's got a really solid fighting chance. For me, the biggest thing, though, is this is a fishing trip. And I told Pred this, too. Like, hey, you can beat this. It's going to give you some momentum, right? But understand that they still likely continue and will continue to dig into things. And until these motherfuckers are put in their place, you know, I don't... You should expect that this battle is only going to continue because that's what we dealt with the last 3 months.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
So...
Well, I just hired someone, so I'm happy.
Did you ask Angel?
No.
Oh, shit.
No, why would I ask Angel? She doesn't fucking talk to me about a thing.
It's crazy, isn't it? I don't know. You know what's yeah. Well, she talks to you through your officers in your meeting. Oh my God! Oh,
Tomorrow?
you missed Peter's what he said during the meeting.
What did he say?
He was almost not gonna have the meeting, and I'm like, you can't not have it. That's gonna look bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay, listen, don't get mad, all right? I asked him to bark for me at the start of the meeting, and he did. And they said, all right, guys, it's the end of the meeting. And then he left and said, marshals to my dick and walked out.
He said what?
Marshall's to my dick. And then walked out.
Right.
It was pretty fucking funny. I think,
Did you see what Bobby and Carmine posted the docket for Pred's thing?
no.
I have to make a report and give them both contempt, but I called Carmine. And publicly I said, how could you do this? And privately I said, keep up that energy.
I transparently, I was gonna pop off in this too. It's when you start to dissect what happened to Pred, it's so egregious.
Yeah.
How are you so, like
I mean, I wasn't involved with any of it, so.
Oh no, I know. I mean, no one was.
I don't even know.
It's what's so like nasty to me. Like, what is this? Oh yeah, I was gonna say, are you retarded? And ask and put a question mark. Like, I genuinely was. Like, I don't like. I don't have the patience. At a certain level, like this is another justice. Like where this guy responded to Pred in a way that the way that I described it was like, it seems like this guy's taking a shit and he's like responding to docket postings. Like it was that like that's the way I read this. It was like someone just like, I don't know. Like it's just no. So this is a mayor of the county that has not been spoken to and is learning about all these things from some shit written by a random fucking officer who's never probably seen Pred in their life, didn't speak to him, didn't even complete the raid, has a bunch of horse shit, but it has a stamp of approval from the Rat Queen. Like, the fuck? And he's asking, how is this legal? And because you probably don't fucking know or don't have time because you are useless, you're just gonna say, wait for the court case? Like, fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, I know I don't.
Do I get to do like do I get to open up the judicial powers list and start picking things and start posting them out? Like, hey, I'd like you to do like hey judge, I need you to do these things. Here's my reasoning. You know what I mean? Just bullshit. And then they're like, okay, well, guess we got to do it. We're gonna set up the court case for it. No. It's this thing is gonna be fucking abused. There's no process for it. There's no standard for it. There's no vetting for it. And let me ask you something. Why would he not have the docket case pressed first? And then this. Here's our evidence. You can see there's an active case that we can stand behind. And then you do it, right? Over a cursor, because the judge has to read the evidence, right? Everything that's in discovery. And they can be like, okay, there's something substantial. This is reasonable. Now we're going to do this. But instead, what's posted in here is like, looks like a scuffed docket filing to begin with. And I want you to think about this, Daisy. Is if they have all this and they can post this, why didn't they post it on the docket? It's because they're probably fucking going through all this shit now to see if they can find something else.
Probably. I don't know.
And if they're willing to, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's, whatever. Anyways. So.
No, I get it. I understand your frustrations.
Yeah.
I do. I wish, like, I could talk on it, but, like, even though I'm not involved, I don't want to really talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak on it just because I don't want to.
I think that's best because, obviously, I'm speaking to Pratt & Company, and if you were to say something, or I was to say something that crossed like a line of inherent, let's just say, confidentiality, we may bring it up unintentionally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I guess it'll get sorted out in the next couple of days and we'll see what happens.
yeah. Right? Surprisingly, didn't crash out.
That's good. Is he doing okay?
He's doing a little bit too okay. There's a part of me that worries that he's gonna have a Serenity Now moment. You know what that is?
No.
There's a show called Seinfeld where George Costanza's dad, who's like a fucking huge hothead, goes to like a psychiatrist, and she tells him that anytime he's like really pissed, he starts saying serenity now, and it's like an exercise that makes that the individual hold their anger in. But at the end of the episode, they learn that psychiatrist got fired because it results in people saying, holding so much in that they end up exploding, and that's what happens at the end. You know, they have their Joker moment because everything gets bottled up, and then just they can't get it, they can't take it anymore.
Well, just try to keep everybody on the right path, and
Yeah.
we'll try to get all this sorted out as soon as possible.
Yep.
You can just move forward.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. But yeah, hopefully some hearings soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'll let you go. Let you get out of here, but just let me know if you need anything. I'll be around during shift 2 tomorrow.
Okay.
Onboarding the new cadet, and yeah, just keep me in the loop.
All right. Yep. 100%. All right. All right, Daisy. You have a good night.
All right, thank you so much.
Shit. It's actually fucking crazy.